Okay, so this video is gonna be a little different. I kind of just want to walk through what my thought process is on any given week of trading something like an index, like SPX, which is my favorite thing to trade. Okay, so this is yesterday, right? This is the price action from yesterday. On a day like yesterday, I like to stay away from trading. The reason why is because at open, price is way too extended from the hourly trigger, right? So about 0.5% extended from the hourly trigger. Of course, that's not a lot, but it's a lot on something like on something like SPX. Okay, so I like to trade when price is close to the hourly trigger, right? When price is either having a strong reaction off the hourly trigger or just breaking and choosing a direction from it. Okay, I don't like when hourly velocity looks like this, right? Because there's no significant change happening, right? So sure, there might be some trades to enter here, right? Like this is an airplane setup, but if you do the 3-hour look back on hourly velocity here, right, you go back three hours and look at this velocity here. I mean, quite honestly, it wasn't even an increase, right? They're almost literally sitting at the same level, right? That would have gave no confidence to enter this airplane setup for me, right? And then of course the move itself is not significant, so price is kind of just bouncing off the 1-minute trigger here, moving very slowly. Okay, what I like to look for the most is something like this, right? So this is open, right? Price is moving really fast. This is the momentum trading that I was referring to. Most people like to look for. I tend to stay away from something like this, right? Because I mean, there's really no setups here, right? I guess I could have maybe taken a rejection at the hourly trigger here, but it's just price is moving way too fast for my liking. What I like to look for is the first airplane or bear plane after price reacts off the hourly trigger, which is this here, right? So this had hourly velocity confirmation, right? So if you look back 3 hours, hourly velocity is in the negative here, it's in the positive here. Okay, I entered with a few candle closes above the 1-minute trigger. We have this added a lot of confidence for me, and I did alert this in the Discord, even though I was at work and was only able to enter with small size here. But I wish I would have entered with more. It was just hard to track while at work. But we had a 1-minute divergence here, right? So this is the lowest 1-minute divergence, lowest 1-minute velocity print with this candle here. But then price made a newer low here while 1-minute velocity was repairing. So that is the number one thing I like to look for when adding confidence to a trade. Okay, so this was my entry, right? And I took profits early, which is okay, right? Like I said, I basically entered this with small size and it was hard to track while at work. But this hourly velocity print here would have been amazing confirmation to stay in a trade, or at least leave runners on the table, right? Until price closes below the 1-minute trigger, right? Which this is still a bounce. The full exit would have been over here. And I think the contracts that I entered, I think I had entered 5960 calls, right? And I believe those contracts saw like I think close to 300%. But yeah, this was a great example of what I like to look for. An even better example, to be honest, is this trade right here. Although it did not play out fully how I wanted it to, right? Because I was targeting the daily trigger here. This is still the best quality setup that I look for. A few reasons why, right? So the first thing is because this is the first bear plane setup that's occurring after a 3-trigger cluster. So price consolidates here. All the 3 triggers are consolidating. They're all close together. Price breaks below, so it chooses a direction, and it's in a strong downtrend here. Bounces off the daily trigger, Price tries to revisit the 5-minute trigger here while forming 1-minute divergences, and the triggers are pretty close here, right? So it gives an entry with a candle close below the 1-minute trigger, and as you can see, there's barely any risk there, right? The good news is that even though I didn't see a full take profit, I took profits on the way down, right? So I still secured some profits on this, and then a full exit would have been a price mount above the 1-minute trigger again. This is another trade that I alerted in the Discord. Okay, so what was this? I think this was on, I thought this was Thursday, but this was on Wednesday, right? And then Tuesday and Monday were basically great examples of when I don't trade, right? So this is not ideal, right? So this is open, price gaps down, so it gaps away from the hourly trigger, right? So what I hope to look for whenever price is extended from the hourly trigger on a day like Monday here is that on the next open, price gaps up into the hourly trigger, right? If it doesn't, if it moves further away, I'm probably not entering a trade that day, unless price towards the end of the day starts to revisit the hourly trigger and it provides a good setup. But it didn't do that. It didn't do that over here. Yeah, this I stay away from, right? Price is way too extended from the hourly trigger. And same thing with Monday, right? So price was way too extended from the hourly trigger. There is no trade to be had here, even though, right, you could consider this a bear plane setup, okay, but it's not the best. It's just not, it's not ideal, right? The best high confidence trades come from when price reacts off the hourly trigger, right? So that would have been really low risk to reward, whereas if this was the first bear plane out of 3 trigger cluster, you could have probably shot for something like this, okay? But yeah, there's no trade to be had, right? So I just kind of wanted to make that video to just walk through my thought process whenever I approach trading on something like an index, which SPX is my favorite thing to trade. But yeah, this is 1 full week, and there was literally only 2 trades that I would have taken the whole week, right? So I had to learn to be patient like that, just because I have lost so much money in the past trying to trade things like this, right, where there's literally no setups, but I was just guessing, right? So I try to take things like the price mounting the 1-minute trigger here, just because in my head I would think, oh my gosh, price is so extended from the hourly trigger, right? It's probably time for it to start revisiting the hourly trigger, which in this case it would have worked out, right? But that is not a setup, so I definitely don't take those anymore. But yeah.